Lab Coat Agents, we've got Howard Tager on today for The Real Lab. We're going to dive deep in. Today, we're going to role play for the first few seconds. Howard, you be Brad Inman, and I'm going to be Gary Keller. I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to tell
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Come on, Tristan. Just sit down. Just sit down. Let's have a talk.
All right, buddy. Well, let's dive right into it, man. I'm going to do a quick intro. For those of you who don't know Howard Tager, first off, he's one of my mentors. He's a great friend of mine. I see him as an older brother. The guy's super brilliant. And not only has he sold a couple of other companies for multi-millions, but he runs one of the best tech companies for real estate. It's called YLOPO. He and G have built something pretty amazing. And the beautiful thing about it is he's always in touch right now with the world that we live in, with tech kind of coming into our real estate world. And that's why I thought he would be perfect to answer some of the questions that we have for him. Howard, can you tell us a little background of who you are and why this kind of fits into what we want to talk about?
Sure. I'm a small business owner like every real estate agent or broker in the country. So I walk the walk and I feel the pain of someone who runs their own business. I've had two small companies that I've bootstrapped and grown and taken full cycle, and I'm really proud of that. I've always looked to work with the most amazing people, surround myself with people who are smarter than me, embrace technology, embrace change, don't fear it. Always try to look around the corner, see what's coming, and again, don't run away from it, but embrace it. And the way that I look at our technology company, which is called YLOPO, the way that I look at our place in the world is we are in a partnership with real estate agents and with brokerages. It's a partnership. We stay in our lane. We do what we do. We empathize and think about what the daily life is like of a real estate agent. This is why we have professors at YLOPO. This is why we're part of Lab Coat Agents and participate in conferences. This is why we have realtors in residence who literally are part of our management team, because we didn't want just pure technologists who don't think about the everyday life of actual real estate agents. So we've got agents who are actually on our team. It's a partnership. We have no aspirations to ever become a brokerage. We want to help agents and brokers succeed.
All right, dude. I love that. So you ran TigerLead. You were one of the founders of TigerLead. TigerLead, for those of you who don't know or haven't been in the business for a while, they were one of the first real estate companies that had like an all-in-one website, back-end CRM, lead generation, way back. And what's the difference between something like that and what you've created now with YLOPO? Because here's the reason I asked that. We're evolving from where we were 10 years from now as real estate agents and real estate vendors. So what's the biggest difference between that and YLOPO? Why do we need that difference?
Look, Tiger was founded in the beginning of 2007. So that's over a decade ago. Shame on us if we come out with a new company that's still doing the same thing we did over a decade ago, because the world has changed, right? And I think that the idea that we have now is you can't be all things to all people. So, and we can talk about this in a little bit, when you have brokerages that are trying to become technology companies and technology companies that look like they're trying to become brokerages, right? And the world of real estate technology has evolved. Back in 2007, we could be the IDX provider. We could be the branded site provider. We could be the CRM. We could be your digital marketing expert, because no one was really doing it and doing it all well, and the system all talked to itself, right? And we spawned a whole industry of all-in-ones, right? Yep. But we've progressed so far. Now, as opposed to a decade ago, there are pure real estate agnostic CRMs who are great at what they do, right? Lion Desk, Follow Up Boss, Contactually, the world goes on. That's all they do. Every single day, they live and breathe building the best CRM. There are other companies who are building digital marketing platforms. There are other companies that are building using artificial intelligence to do lead nurture. And so we've become really this world of specialists. And to think that we could be all things to all people, because I know there are all-in-one systems now who are great at some things and not so good at other things. yet their clients get trapped in this all-in-one system, and they kind of get stuck with the good stuff and the bad stuff. So my vision, just to finish the thought, my vision is to build a company where we stay in our lane. We do what we do really well, but we can work with the CRM of choice that you have. We can work with your lead nurture technology of choice. We can work with the different pieces. So now it's a world of not closed systems, but open two-way APIs where we actually work logically together.
So you don't want to be the all-in-one then, right?
Never. Not at all. We're not going to build a CRM. There are lots of companies. It's a nuclear arms race in the CRM world, right? Why do I want to be in that world?
So
I want to integrate with the best of breed CRMs.
Okay. So what do you say to people that, or agents specifically, because this is super agent centric, brokers, teams, brokerages, people that say, well, you know what, the day of the real estate agent as we currently know it is going to be over in about 5 years, 10 years max. What do you say to somebody like that?
They're flat out wrong. And they've been saying it since I've been in the industry, and they're flat out wrong.
Okay.
Number one, and you never hear anyone talk about this, a real estate agent is not primarily a salesperson. A real estate agent is a lot of things. They're a concierge, they're a consultant, they're a psychologist, they're an advisor, right? The real estate transaction for most people is by far their largest financial transaction of their life. Whether they're selling a $200,000 home, a $750,000 home, or a $5 million home, this sale or this purchase far outweighs the economic importance of buying a car, buying a refrigerator, buying anything else. Not only that, but when you're buying, you're dealing with a seller. And when you're selling, you're dealing with a buyer or buyers. So would I ever go raise money, let's say, right, from private equity guys or venture capitalists, would I ever go raise money without an amazing investment banker who was the smartest person in the room, who was better than other investment bankers? He's not a pure sales guy. This is my advisor, my consultant, my shrink. When I've been involved in a lot of personal real estate transactions over a long period of time. I've bought, I've sold. I'm a real estate guy. I'm designated real estate professional, right? Mm-hmm. I've never once had a transaction that went 100% smoothly. And at every step of the way, I needed my advisor, my consultant, my psychologist, who's my real estate agent, to be part of the transaction. So I've been hearing about companies saying they're going to disintermediate agents for a decade. They're going to lower their commissions. They're going to do all this stuff. And people have to stop fearing that. It's not going to happen.
All right. And I understand where you're coming from, where you're saying, look, if you buy something, you're going to use an investment banker because it's such a huge purchase. But what about those people that don't think like you and I? Because there are a lot of them putting up their homes for sale by owner, going to Purple Bricks, going to discount brokerages. What do you say to those people who are going to use those?
Okay, I would say write down two things so you can remember it every time you read this stuff on wherever you read it, right? Yeah. So statistics, damn lies and statistics, write that down, right? And don't let the tail wag the dog, okay? Let's take a look at the insurance industry. Long time ago, you never bought insurance without buying it. You went to your local shopping mall. There was a State Farm office, a retail place. You went in, you met with your agent, you bought your insurance, right?
Okay.
Many years ago, Geico existed. No one even knows what Geico stands for. It stands for Government Employee Insurance Company. There was a company that just sold insurance to government employees.
Oh,
and then along their cycle, some executive at Geico said, why are we only selling insurance to government employees? There's a whole world out there. So how were they going to go compete with Allstate and State Farm and Farmers and all these guys? Well, guess what? They threw hundreds of millions of dollars at television commercials, and now they're selling insurance, right? So when you buy insurance, you can go, if you feel comfortable going online, you can go buy online in an online marketplace. You can do that. I mean, I still talk to insurance agents because I have really complex real estate needs and insurance needs where I need to talk to someone, right? So what I'm saying is that there may be a minority of people now and in the future who feel like they're the smartest person in the room. They don't need an agent. They can do it themselves. Great. But that's the tail. It's not the dog. And people get all crazy about it. But most people need an agent now, and they're going to need an agent in the future. And every real estate transaction is really complicated. It's really hairy. There's lots of legal pitfalls. There's lots of deals that, there's lots of, you could have multiple buyers. You could have things that go wrong with the house. There's so many things that happen. Everyone here knows things that go wrong in real estate transactions, and the agent has to save the deal. So what I'm saying is that there's a room in the marketplace for some of these fully automated end-to-end transactions or FSBOs or flips, whatever, okay? But this is not the majority of the transactions that will take place. Okay. There's a room in any market for automation, but there's always, especially when we're talking about the most significant financial purchase or sale of your life, you need this professional, and they will not be disintermediated. I guarantee it.
All right, so then why do you have, I might be controversial here, but why do you have Gary Keller then freaking people out and saying, hey, you know what, companies like Realtor.com and Zillow and Commissions Inc. and all these other companies, they're out to destroy our industry because of their actions. Why do you have somebody like that at such a high position telling everybody that?
Okay, so let me first preface it by, I once snuck into a very private meeting at a Keller Williams conference a long time ago. It was maybe only 30 people in the room with Gary Keller. It was a privilege to be in the room. I'd never met him before. I walked out of that meeting saying, this guy is crazy smart. He's super smart, smarter than me, right? Super smart guy, right? So I respect him. He's built a great company, very smart. But I think that now he's doing what he needs to do as the head of Keller Williams. The head of Zillow is going to do what they need to do. The head of Commissions Inc. is going to do what they need to do. I'm going to do what I need to do for YLOPO, and he needs to say and do what he needs to do. So he's under assault. Keller Williams is under assault, right? Yep. And agents are critical for him, right? He doesn't want to lose them. It's without agents, they're nothing, right? Yeah. So he's positioning that company as a pure technology company. It's what he did at his keynote. We're a pure technology company. Don't buy technology from anyone else. Stay with us. We'll give you the best technology, right? Because he doesn't want to lose agents to HomeSmart or EXP or Compass or any of these folks that just are sort of taking market share. He even correctly views Zillow as a potential threat to his market share, right? Okay. I don't think that he's necessarily getting it right. Again, he's going to realize that it's hard to be all things to all people. If I was in his position now, what I would be doing is not going up and standing up in front of Inman and saying that technology startups and technology companies are the evil empire and stay away from them, and they're trying to disintermediate agents. I don't think that's the case. You mentioned Commissions Inc. Commissions Inc. makes 100% of its revenues from agents. They love agents. They service agents. They're in a partnership with agents, as we are, okay? Zillow makes all of its revenue from agents and from lenders, right? So it's a crucial piece of the puzzle for everyone, and to say that they're going to try to disintermediate them, and because they're the ones paying their bills, right? Now, ultimately, we don't know where Zillow goes. They have invested tons in marketing, right? So they have millions and millions of MUVs, every single month, right? The monthly unique visitors is enormous because they throw hundreds of millions of dollars at branding. This is ultimately what some of these real estate brands are going to have to do, right? But if I was Gary Keller, I would embrace the YLOPOs of the world and say, help us be the best brokerage, help us provide the best tech to our agents. It's their job to go out and vet all of our tech companies and say, who's the best? Who's got the best CRM? Who's got the best artificial intelligent behavioral texting? Who's got the best, this, the best that, and put it together. Because you can't be, again, all things to all people. So does that kind of make sense? Yeah.
Totally, man. I see what you're saying. So what you're saying is he's doing this as a strategy play.
I think that he needs to keep people.
Looks like Howard got
there you go. Yeah, he needs to keep them, part of Keller Williams, and he's correctly saying we're a tech company. So that's correct. That's the right strategy. But I'm not so sure that you saying no other tech companies can sell into my system, we're going to build all the tech. How are they going to be? They need to be the best of breed brokerage. They need to have the best education, the best training, the best coaching, the best recruiting. There's a lot on their plate. The best business model. There's a lot on their plate. On top of that, you're also going to be the best at artificial intelligence lead nurture. You're also going to build the best CRM in the business. You're going to build the best transaction management tool in the business. How are you going to do that when there are companies that do nothing but transaction management, or who do nothing but AI nurture, or who do nothing but CRM? Why do you want to be all things to all people? I use other technology in my business. We use Slack, for example, right? I'm not going to go build Slack. Why am I going to go build Slack? I'm going to use Slack. There's so much tech that we use behind the scenes to do what we do. Every company out there licenses software and use software as a service from other companies. And the top real estate brokerages should do the same.
All right, dude, I agree with you. I think real estate companies, agents, brokerages, teams, we need to use those tools that are out there to help us. And I think that in essence makes us a better agent. I see Gary's point, but
what is it? What when you say you see Gary's point, what point do you see?
Gary's point is that he comes from a point of, he's been in as a brokerage, creating the biggest real estate company in the world, where he was at the beginning where we had all that data, right? And then as a group, we gave that away.
No, we didn't give that away. He gave it away. the head of every large brokerage, they all should have gotten together and said, this is our data. We're going to keep our data. That ship sailed 5 years ago, and it's too late. And he shouldn't blame anyone else but themselves, because they couldn't play well in a sandbox together.
The thing is, you're living in a world where that's what we have now. Stop going back to it.
Right. And like I said, go back to the insurance business, right? There's room in the world for Geico and State Farm and Allstate and Farmers. To say that there's only one of these horses that's going to win the race is just not true. You know,
at the end of the day, you're saying that 5, 10, 15 years from now, there's still going to be a huge selection of real estate companies out there. They're going to be mixed. Some are going to be like Redfin. Some are going to be like Keller, Remax, and Compass. It's still going to be the same playing field.
That's well, the playing field will switch, and some will thrive and some will die. That's evolution. That's Darwin. Like that's going to happen, right? But you're not going to disintermediate the agent. The agents may prefer working at Keller because they are vetting and providing great tech, or they may prefer working at Compass, or they may prefer working at, I hate to say it, Zillow. We don't know if that'll happen someday. They might prefer working at Redfin, right? Redfin, you saw them evolve. They tried to sort of start off with like an employee model. That didn't work, right? I can reel off 10 companies where it didn't work. But so who has what percentage of the market share? I'm not smart enough to predict that, but I'm smart enough to tell you there's not going to be one brand. There's not going to be two brands. There's not going to be three brands. And there's always going to be upstarts, right? EXP is doing a great job of being an upsmart, and HomeSmart and Compass. But there's always going to be the next upstart, right? But the loser is going to be the person who tries to get rid of the agent, because that is a failed proposition.
Dude, that's a really good quote. I'm gonna put that on a t-shirt. The loser is gonna be the company that tries to get rid of the agent.
It's not possible. It's just not possible, right? So look at the legal industry, right? LegalZoom's got a great business, right? There's NOLO. There's all these things for the people that want do-it-yourself legal. Would I ever create an operating agreement for one of my companies using that service? I personally would not. Because I understand that that's not a commodity. That has to be an incredibly well-crafted instrument. There are some things that maybe I would use LegalZoom for that are really on the low end, the commoditized type products. But for most of it, that's like saying we're going to get rid of lawyers. So, no, actually, we probably all love to get rid of lawyers, but we're not going to get rid of lawyers, right? Because their expertise is needed for very, very hairy transactions and legal situations, right? So there's a room in the marketplace for pure automated. There's a room, and you're going to have a variety of things, but you've got to look at the greater percentages.
There's a couple of questions here.
Sure.
So what happens when there's a downturn in the market? How does this affect this whole world that we're talking about, right?
Sure. Look, I've always preached that you should have a balanced business as a real estate agent or a brokerage. There are people who just want listings, and there are people who just want buyers, right, and they're specialists. But what I found is the healthiest business is a business where you actually represent both buyers and sellers, okay? Because I've been around long enough, and you have as well, is the markets do this. Can we exactly time it? No. But when you're high, it's going to go low. And when you're low, it's eventually going to go high. And there are seller markets, and then there are neutral markets, and then there are buyer markets, and then there are neutral markets, and there are seller markets. This is the nature of the beast. And this is intricately woven into our macroeconomic picture. We've got great economic times. We have recessions. This is what happens, okay? So when you have a balanced business, then no matter where it shifts, you're in good shape, right? When it's a seller's market, okay, great. You've got the tools to win sellers and win listings. When it's a buyer's market, you've got the outreach and communications to get, lots of buyers, right? You've got to build that buyer's business, that balanced business. And also in the neutral markets, when you've got buyers, you can win all your listing presentations, show your sellers, I've got more buyers than anyone else, right? When you have a great listing, if you're smart about it, use your listing to build up your buyer database. Keep a balanced business, and you will then survive this.
So do you think there's too much focus on tech rather than developing the skills of the agent, those basic skills, the foundation? So I'll give you an example. I've been in martial arts for 13 years when I was a kid, and I was stuck on green belt for freaking ever. And I kept on asking my sensei, why? He goes, your base is off. Your basics are wrong. You're not doing the moves like I'm telling you to do them. So I was stuck on green belt for a year and a half, practicing my basics. And I thought, you know what? It makes sense. Until I gave in, I realized that was my problem. So a real estate agent, are we focused too much on tech? Should we be focused on our basics, calling, relationships, all that?
Yeah, I think you need to be focused on both. If you don't embrace technology, you're going to be a dinosaur. You're going to be dead in the water, right? But ultimately, you have to engage with the consumer. You have to have a conversation. So, Tristan, you still there? Hello, Tristan?
We might have lost him.
No, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
1 second.
Hello?
Hey, Howard, you're still on. Tristan,
Hello?
will be back in just a moment.
Hello?
Hey, Howard, can you hear?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hey, guys, this is Dan. Tristan just jumped, had a little bit of tech difficulties, but he will be back on in just a minute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So 1 second, we'll have him back on.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you, yep. Can you hear me?
All right. You were talking to yourself for a while there, weren't you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Dude. All right. Thanks, man.
Okay, so your question about are we going too much towards tech, right? Do we have to go back to basics? And it's a really great question. And again, I have a very balanced feet on the ground approach. You have to think about both. If you were to fully automate, for example, fully embrace technology and fully automate, you're dead in the water, because at some point that client needs a real person. You can't completely fully automate the process. Now, can you use automation to be much more efficient with your time and end up with more meaningful conversations? Yes. But at some point you end up with a meaningful conversation. So let me use an example, okay?
Shoot.
I use the acronym with our clients of YLOPO helps its clients take it to the bank. So you can write that down, B-A-N-C, take it to the bank, which means build your database of relationships. I'm no longer calling leads, calling them relationships. So build your database of relationships. Well, that's embracing tech, right? Automate, that's embracing tech. Nurture, which is embracing tech. And then close. Build, automate, nurture, close. And so, for example, we have all of these folks, like let's say you build up a database of 1,000 people. We're constantly getting homes in front of them. Those people that are not selling, they're not buying, they're not going to engage. Those folks that are getting close to thinking about selling and then buying, they're going to start engaging and looking at homes, right? And they might tread lightly, but we're constantly watching them. And as their home search behavior heats up, my agents can't watch 1,000 people. They can't watch 10,000 people. We have to watch it for them. You have to embrace technology, right? So we're watching it for them. And all of a sudden, a consumer looks at one home for the 4th time, right? We need to notify my client that this is happening. So we send a priority text notification. If my client is so busy that they can't respond right away to that particular relationship or consumer, we can then send a behavioral text message on their behalf as their assistant to that consumer saying, notice you looked at 124 Main Street for the 4th time. Would you like to go see the home? And would you like to talk about it? Ultimately, I've got to help connect my agent to those consumers who are the hottest person this day, this week, this month, who they themselves are indicating they need help. They want to talk to someone, right? If you abuse technology, you're now just spamming lots of people, and you're just gonna piss them off, and you're gonna send them far away. So we have to use technology in an intelligent way to only automate communications with those people that we are sensing really actually want to be communicated with. Ultimately, we now get into, we're not just a pure tech company, which is why we have realtors in residence. We talk about what's the right script, what's the right dialogue, what's the right conversation, how about value propositions, how do you be a concierge, not a salesman? We get into all this stuff. That stuff hasn't changed, right? And nor should it. Yeah. So I believe in what you're saying, which is get back to the basics of being helpful, being a VIP concierge, being helpful, not being too salesy. That stuff will be independent of technology. But how do we get you, Tristan, the agent, how do we get you more compelling conversations? How do we weed through people who are not really ready for those people who are ready? It is the confluence of evolving technology, but the back to basics, being a great realtor. This is the world that I love to live in.
So tell me, dude, in your eyes, what's the agent of the very near future, a year, 2 years from now? What's that agent look like to you? How do they succeed as agents?
I think you have to ask yourself, as an agent, do I want to be a prisoner of my next paycheck forever? Do I want to be a prisoner? Good times, I got lots of closes, and I'm going to go out and spend lots of money because it's all great, and I can only think about now. But then what happens when they pull the rug out and there's another great recession? And then what? Okay, and you haven't saved for a rainy day. So what I'm saying is you've got to look around the corner, and you have to understand we have ups and we have downs. You've got to be prepared for the downs and be prepared for the ups. So my recommendation for the agent who is going to thrive in the future, you have to embrace technology. Now, look, I'm biased, right? I'm the CEO and founder of a real estate technology company, so that's my bias, okay? But look at companies, really successful companies, whether you love them or hate them, look at Amazon, okay? They build and they buy technology. They evolve. They've put Alexa in your homes, right? Because now you're going to maybe search not just on your computer, you're going to search through Alexa. They're not shunning technology, they're embracing technology, and so do you as a real estate agent. But this acronym I have, build, automate, nurture, close, you've got to build a database. And that's your biggest asset, right? And if you have a 10,000 relationship database versus a 5,000 relationship database versus a 1,000 relationship database 5 years from now, okay, you're going to win the race, because we can provide you with the technology where you're constantly staying in front of them with the right home at the right time, and that's super important. You're going to be there as the great agent, okay, but you have to know who in this. If you have a 100-person relationship database, and we can get you in a conversation with 10%, that's 10 people. But if you've taken the time to invest in your business, the time, the energy, the money to invest in your business, and you've built up to a 5,000-person relationship database, guess what? If we can get 10% who are hot and heavy of your consumers, you have 500 people to talk to. And you don't have to go out nowadays and spend $1 zillion to go build this database, right? You have 3 people on your team. I guarantee you, we can show you with 3 people, you yourself and 3 other people, you've got 4 people. You're each connected to at least 1,000 people that we can bring into this relationship database, and you can stay gently in front of them for ad infinitum. So
I think what you're saying right there with the relationship database, that's the world that we live in. That's our internet now. Facebook, relationship based, right? Instagram, loosely relationship based, right?
Right.
Through these social media outlets, we create relationships with other people. And I think that right now, as long as our presence is there in a way that the other side, the consumers, can view us as someone that they can go to for real estate, I think then we start winning. And then when we bring in a company like yours, which allows us to remarket to our database through social media, I think it's just a win. And I think when we look at the immediate successful real estate agent a year, 2 years from now, they're using social media not only to say, hey, look, here's my next open house. This is cool over here. Check out my family. But they're using it to remarket to them continually a message about who they are and what they stand for. And I think you guys do that really well. So,
and again, I go back to the very beginning of our conversation, which is this is a partnership. You as a real estate agent do not have the time or the expertise or the staff of 20 programmers and digital marketing experts to be a digital marketing or a technology company. You have enough on your plate. You're out of time as it is, right? Time is your most precious commodity. You have enough on your plate being a great real estate agent, running a great team. And so the partnership is, let us do what we do. Let us automate this stuff for you so you don't have to worry about it. I want my clients to wake up every day and feel confident that we're getting their brand, their message, their homes, their featured listings, their open houses, their team in front of their entire geographic sphere every day, every week, every month, right? And we could do a better job making sure our clients, I think most of our clients don't even know how much we're getting all of that in front of their geographic sphere. But, people who've heard me speak, they've heard me talk about long-term multi-touch point, LTMT, long-term multi-touch point.
That sounds like a Subway sandwich.
Oh, you got to get the LTMT, dude, with extra mayo. It's amazing.
Love it.
The long-term multi-touch point, which is you're always staying in front of them, right? Whether it's, bonded dynamic email listing alerts or behavioral text messages, or Facebook, state-of-the-art dynamic Facebook remarketing. I mean, Facebook is just such a great, super compliant way to stay in front of your geographic sphere. You're not spamming them. If at some point they're interested, they'll hit on the ad, they'll go down the funnel, they'll click on the privacy policy, and you've had a compliant way to now build this communication. But it's a lot of things, which can be overwhelming for an agent. I understand, I empathize. They can feel overwhelmed with all this tech, which is why my company exists and other companies like mine exist, which is it's this partnership. You do what you do, we'll do what we do. And if you make more money, then I keep you as a client. And if you don't, I lose you as a client. So I have to feel your pain every day or I'm out of business.
Yeah. All right, just to wrap this up, I need one thing from you. What's the one thing that you would tell all agents to do in the next year or two to stay relevant in the real estate world?
I've already said it. I've said it.
Tell me again.
Build your most important asset, which is your database. I'm not going to say leads. It's your database of relationships, because leads are real people with real stories and real families and real needs. Build your database of relationships and use technology, automate, nurture, 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 stay in front of them. And when the time's right, they're going to work with you because you've invested in staying in front of them. That's the number one thing you can do. And if you don't do it, you're going to be a dinosaur.
I love it, dude. Well, thank you. Obviously, you run YLOPO, and I use YLOPO. I love it. It's amazing. Check them out. And next time I see you, Howard, I owe you an LTMT at Subway.
Extra mayo.
Dude, extra mayo. Anyway, thanks, bro. I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Have a good day, bud.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.